Hello to all of you. This is Dr. Dhaval Maheta, and today we are going to talk about higher order constructs formative reflective model. Here, price, service quality, personnel, service scape, they are all constructs which are being captured with some measured variable. When all these constructs combine together and form one another higher order construct known as satisfaction. So the satisfaction is a second order component, the higher order components, and this model is known as a hierarchical model. Now, depending upon the arrows moving inside the construct or going away from the construct, we will name this construct as a reflective or the formative. The another way we can say that these statements are reflective or formative are the statements causes or consequences. So, if it is a consequences, it is a reflective, and if it is a causes, it's a formative statements. So, while drawing a diagram, let's try to understand how the nomenclature goes. First, we always write for the lower order construct and then for the higher order construct. In case of type 1 model, all the arrows are moving away from the construct and therefore it's a reflective model. Similarly, in higher order, the arrows are moving out, therefore it's a reflective type 1 model. I'll request all my viewers to kindly refer my playlist in which I've already discussed this type of model. The second model is in lower order, arrows are moving out, it's reflective, but in higher order, arrows are moving inside, and therefore it's a formative type 2. This model also I have discussed in my previous video. If I talk about the third model, in lower order, all the arrows are moving inside the construct, and in higher order, it's reflective. So it's a formative reflective type 3 model. This we are going to discuss today. If we talk about type 4 model, in lower order or higher order, arrows are moving inside. So it's a formative models. Now, let us try to understand the same thing on SmartPLS. The reflective formative model is when lower order construct is reflective. When lower order construct, I'll have to make some changes here. We are going to do today. So the changes. It's a formative reflective model in which lower order construct is formative, higher order construct is reflective. Now let us go in SmartPLS. We have already discussed this model, job satisfaction affecting the staying intention, environmental perception of an employee affecting its staying intention, organizational commitment affecting the staying intention of an employee, co-workers and its effect on behavior of co-workers and its effect on staying intention. Here, as the arrows are moving out, so this is a reflective construct. This is reflective, this is reflective, this is reflective, and this is also reflective. Now I want to make a model in which lower orders are formative, but the higher order is reflective. So first of all, let me invert this one, formative, formative, formative. Now I want to take one higher order construct. First of all, I'll drag this and I'll change this orientation. I'll select 1, 2, 3. I'll introduce one latent variable here and I'll name it as HOC. For the study purpose, we assume that this HOC is the combination of job satisfaction, environmental perception, and organizational commitment. So we will put the arrows are outside the construct because our model is formative reflective. This is formative and this is reflective. And then we will connect this one. So at present, you can see that the HOC is in red. So there's a problem. It does not have any indicator. Now what you will have to do, the measured variables of all lower order constructs has to be loaded on HOC. So JS1, JS2, JS3, JS4, load it here. EP1, EP2, EP3, EP4, you will have to load it here. Then OC1, OC2, OC3, OC4, you will have to load it here. You can see that the direction of these arrows are opposite to the original, or rather the lower order constructs. This is not permissible. You will have to change the arrows. You will have to make this arrows formatted. So now lower order. In lower order also JS1 to JS4 arrows are inside and therefore it's a formative. And in higher order also arrows are moving inside and therefore it's a formative. The first thing which you should do is a reliability and the validity testing. Now what will happen is reliability and validity testing of the lower order construct. Now these are lower order. These are reflective constructs, staying intention and coworkers. Its reliability and validity can be very well tested with the help of Cronbach alpha, composite reliability, AVE, Forner-Larkin criterion, and HTMT. But what about job satisfaction, environmental perception, and organizational commitment? So here we will run the bootstrapping and check their outer weights and outer loading. So first of all, let us establish the reliability and validity of all lower order constructs first. So I'll go and calculate PLSM algorithm, start the calculation, open the report, check the reliability and validity here. So you can see all of them are green, nothing to worry. The threshold limit of Cronbach alpha is this value should be more than 0.7. Similarly, composite reliability also, the value should be more than 0.7. Average variance extracted, the value should be more than 0.5. The same thing you can report by graph also from here. And average variance extracted. Right. New features of SmartPLS are quite cool. Click on customize this chart. You can change the threshold limits also from here. And you can customize the charts. Even you can copy the chart from here. Now you have to report the discriminant validity of this constructs, the reflective constructs. So directly I will go in Forner-Larkin criteria. I'll copy this into Excel. After copying, the first thing which I should do is I should delete HOC in column and row. Now, how to interpret the Forner-Larkin criterion? That diagonally, the red one, this value should be maximum in corresponding rows and columns. You can see at the 0.799 value which is there. It should be maximum in corresponding column. It is maximum. You can see here. And corresponding row. Here also it's maximum. If we have achieved this, then the discriminant validity is achieved. This is the Forner-Larkin criterion. Now let us check about heterotrait HTMT, heterotrait monotrait ratio. This value should be less than 0.85. Also check the collinearity statistics. All the values should be less than 3 and they are less than 3, quite good. For inner model, you will get HOC equal to 1. The multicollinearity you will get equal to 1, which is completely wrong. Now, why we cannot check the reliability and validity of HOC from here? The reason is, let's try to understand. This HOC, the reliability and validity, the software will report the results according to these values. But in reality, the reliability and the validity of HOC, the higher order construct should be based on these values. And that's the reason we don't consider the HOC which has been reported by the software directly. Okay. So we have completed the reliability and validity of lower order constructs which are reflective. What about the lower order which are formative? So I'll go and calculate bootstrapping, start the calculations. I'll open the report and I'll directly go in outer weights. Now I will have to see the values: job satisfaction, environmental perception, and organizational commitment. Their outer weights I will have to see. So let us see of GS1 to GS4. This value 1, 2, 3, and 4. This would be significant. At any moment of time, if you feel that you want to delete any statement, make sure that if JS1 is insignificant in lower order component and you are deleting, simultaneously the same statement should be deleted also from the higher order. That should be done. Okay. So we'll establish the reliability of the statements from here. So we will see this that for JS1, this is insignificant, this is insignificant, this is insignificant, and this is also insignificant. But we will not delete any statement. We will go one level ahead and we will check the outer loading. If all of them are green, nothing to worry. And if these values are more than 0.5, no need to worry. Don't delete any statement. So we have established the reliability and validity of lower order constructs, which are reflective also and which are formative also. But what about the higher order constructs? Okay. Now the cool new features are, let's try to understand. I will have to run the PLS-SAM algorithm, start the calculation, open the report, and I will save the latent variable scores, the latent scores of job satisfaction, environmental perception, organizational commitment. So from where I can save this, I'll go and create data file. And this time I'll make this one because I've already used this file previously with this name. So you can see here that the scores are manifest variable scores and latent variable scores. So latent variable scores works as a proxy for your construct. It's a one composite score. There will be one composite score per factor. It means that job satisfaction will have a one composite score. So if you want to include measurement model also while running the analysis, you should save the manifest variable scores also. So by clicking on this, what will happen is the new features of SmartPLS-4 will are such that with the original raw data file, these scores are saved. You just click on create. Let me show you what's a new cool feature. When we are working on original raw data file, we don't have any latent variable scores. Now, if I switch the data set, the recently saved data, you go on Fagant and you can see here all the latent variable scores are saved. Quite cool. Now, I'll delete this. Delete all of them. And I'll select organizational commitment, job satisfaction, environmental perception, and I'll simply drag it and drop it. I'll name this as HOC. Double click on it and I will remove this. So it's an environmental perception. I'll remove this and say it's a job satisfaction. Remove this and say it's an organizational commitment. Make sure that the arrows are moving out. Why? Because my lower order was formative, but the higher order is reflective. See this. We are working on type 3 model. So formative and the higher order is reflective. Now I'll connect the arrows. First of all, I will have to test the reliability and the validity of HOC. As it is reflective, I'll be testing its Cronbach alpha, composite reliability, AVE, Fornell-Larkin criterion, and HTMT. Go and calculate. PLS-SAM algorithm. Start the calculation. Open report. Directly go and construct reliability and validity. Now, at this moment of time, I will only consider the values of HOC, completely ignoring the values of lower order. So, these are the values. There is a slight, The values are slightly less than threshold, but for understanding purpose, we will proceed further. So the same thing you can report by bar chart, row A, row C, average variance extracted. Now let us check the discriminant validity. Again, you will have to only check for higher order, not for lower order. Then the collinearity statistics. Once we have established the reliability and the validity of the higher order constructs, this, then we can proceed for the structural model. Let me reorient this. So I'll go and calculate bootstrapping, start the calculation. Now I will only talk about HOC affecting the staying intention or not, HOC affecting the co-workers, co-workers affecting the staying intention. These are all direct effects. There can be a possibility that HOC is affecting the co-workers, co-workers affecting the staying intention. That is an indirect effect. I want to see all of them. So I'll go in open report. I'll go in path coefficients and see their values and p-value. If the p-value is less than 0.05, this path are significant. The same thing I can confirm from confidence intervals bias corrected. There should not be the zero should not be present in these two intervals. So here you can see both the values are from positive to positive, positive to positive, positive to positive, and therefore these paths are quite significant. I can also check the results from specific indirect effects for the path which I had already discussed, that higher order construct affecting the co-workers affecting the staying intention. Its p-value is less than 0.05, and therefore we can say that the indirect effects are also present. Now how to report the R square, F square of this model? For this, I'll again go back, calculate PLS-SEM algorithm, start the calculation, open the report, R square. So it will generate the R square of all the endogenous construct. I can also report it in the bar chart. Now for the effect size, you will have to click on F square. I'll request all my viewers to kindly refer my previous video lecture series in which I have talked about in length about F square, the effect size. The next thing which I should report from here is the collinearity statistics. All these values should be less than 3. So outer model and inner model. You can report from here now. Now what to do if your HOC is, at present it is exogenous, but if it is endogenous, what to do? So let me try to delete this path and connect this line. Now you can see that all of them have turned red. All the paths have turned red because the model has gone into the loop. How? Let's understand. HOC affecting the co-workers, co-workers affecting the staying intention. Staying intention is being affected HOC. So there is a loop which is going on. So such type of model we cannot run in SmartPLS. So I'll disconnect one path here. And you can see all the results have been generated. So co-workers affecting the staying intention. Staying intention of an employee is affecting the higher order construct. So here higher order construct is now endogenous. Are the path coefficients significant? I'll go in open report. I'll click on path coefficients. At present, you know that the p-values are not generated because we are in the PLS-SEM algorithm. To generate the p-value, I'll click on calculate, bootstrapping, start the calculation, open report, path coefficients, and you can see the p-values of all the paths are less than 0.05, and therefore these paths are significant. So co-workers is behavior of co-workers significantly affecting the staying intention. Staying intention significantly affecting the higher order construct. So you can see here, you can click on here. The same thing we can confirm by confidence intervals bias corrected also. The specific indirect effects we can get from here. co-workers affecting the staying intention affecting the HOC. For R square and F square, please run the PLSM algorithm and you will be able to report the results of R square and F square from here. For more videos on Smart PLS, you can subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter. Please don't forget to press the like button. You can also see my playlist in which I have already uploaded many videos related to Smart PLS. Thank you.